Hello, wonderful Stronger Through It family. Here we are again, Angie and Diana, and we have another great story to share with you. This is our podcast number 5, titled, Is It Love or Is It Lust? And Diana, you're going to be sharing a very personal story that has...
I would say it led me through a lot of growth, but also a lot of confusion. And because my story started at 12. I would consider it a situation that not a lot of people go through. I mean, yes, you do go through, but not in the sentiment that it went.
Yeah, I think your story is pretty unique because it really takes you through crossing the line from being a child into womanhood, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of start with a little bit of background. So you said the story starts right around age of 12.
Yes.
So what is happening at age 12 in your life?
So at age 12, my parents had recently bought a house, quite big of a house. And they had also allowed 2 men, father and son, and they were renting the bottom portion of the home.
Did your parents know them?
Yes, they actually, as a matter of fact, when they rented the house, my parents had already known them for 10 years.
Okay. So your parents bring in this this father and his 2 sons.
Father and 1 son first.
Father and 1 son, and then the other son joined.
Yes. The other son eventually came in. They had asked my dad for permission if he could move in. My dad said yes. And that's where kind of the story starts.
And I guess the purpose, it's important to share that, obviously, I think your parents were trying to lend a hand to someone that was just kind of starting off in a new country.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, fast forward. So you were 12, and at this time, it's you, your brother?
Yes.
Your younger brother, and then your dad and your mom living in the house.
Yes.
And then here comes father and his sons. How old were the sons?
So one of the sons was 22, and the other one was 16 when he first came. 15 or 16, I want to say.
And I think that's the other main character of our story.
Yes.
We're going to name him W.
Yes, we are going to name him W.
And so at 12, tell me a little bit about your life. Were you into school? Were you into Barbies? What was Diana like at 12?
At 12, I was a 6th grader at the time. And like any normal 12-year-old at the time, I liked playing football. I liked playing baseball. Mind you, I wasn't really a girly girl because all I had around me were boys. Mm-hmm. So I did boy things.
You were a tomboy.
Yes, I was a tomboy. I roller skated. I mean, played in the woods because there was woods behind our house.
But you were quite active.
Yeah, we were quite active, my brother and I. And I spent a lot of my summer also pulling out leeches from my brother's legs because he liked going to the creek.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so boys. Let's talk about boys. So at 12, what were your thoughts about boys? Were you like... None.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
I was
no
not
crushes,
thinking no crushes, no boyfriends, no nothing.
Okay.
I saw them as people I played with.
Right, like friends.
Yes, like friends.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so here comes this father and his sons. And so W is 15 or 16. And what was he like?
At the beginning, coming to a new country, he was very shy. He kept to himself. I think I annoyed him because I remember a couple of times he would when I would walk through the door and if we saw each other in the main entrance, he would give me this look and be sometimes you're so annoying. And
kind of like a little sister?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, whatever. And he kind of became annoying to me simply because there were times when, for example, we were left home alone. Mm-hmm. We weren't allowed to go outside, but we had a backyard. Mind you, we were not allowed to play in the backyard. But it didn't matter to me. I would go and let my brother and let's go play in the backyard. And he would tattle on me.
You were like, I'm in charge. I'm making this executive decision. We're going to go play outside.
Exactly.
So was he studying? What was he doing at the time?
He never went to school, I can tell you that one. He didn't finish his GED. He didn't go to high school. He came to this country and started working immediately.
Okay. So, fast forward. How much time goes by until you realize that he was looking at you a little more through different eyes other than little annoying sister?
When I started 7th grade, but like every girl, your body changes, and during the summer of 6th grade, like my body changed completely and developed. So I think that's when he started seeing me through different eyes. And the first interaction was a couple of months into 7th grade. So you know how excited it is because mom says you can't wear makeup, but your best friend and you con your dad into buying you makeup. Mm-hmm. And so I remember my dad, the first time we went, he let me buy mascara, eyeliner, and clear lip gloss. He's like, if you get in trouble with your mother, you do not mention my name.
So you start wearing makeup, and now you are much more developed.
Yes.
And so what does W start to, how does he start hinting that he found you attractive?
So how that story came about was one day I got into a little bit of an argument with some kid at school, and I remember his name clearly. His name is Katai. He broke my eyeliner, my Wet and Wild eyeliner, and I was devastated because obviously my dad wasn't going to buy me another one. And so I only had half of a piece of the eyeliner. And I remember coming home from school. It was almost perfect timing. And I sat down on the stairs, and I started crying. And lo and behold, from downstairs, guess what's coming? W. And he sees me crying, and he sits next to me. And I remember that one of my curls was just popping out in the front of my face, and he grabbed my hair and he pulled it back, and he's like, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" And obviously, the dumb story of Katai broke my eyeliner. And he's like, "It's okay, don't cry, it's not a big deal." He asked me again for his name, so I gave it to him. He kissed me, but he didn't kiss me on the lips. He kissed me on the cheek, and that's how that started.
Okay, so one other side note here. How much time had gone by since he had moved in?
Almost a year.
And by this point, did he also by now start to kind of get into other not so great relationships? Was he getting into trouble?
Yes, I believe at that time he was starting to actually hang out with certain gang members of a group. I don't think that at the time he was one yet.
Okay.
But he was definitely
associating
with them.
Okay.
And mind you, I'm pretty sure that for many girls that would have been a highlight or whatever. Oh my God, a guy kissed me. I didn't see it that way. I saw it more oh, okay, he comforted me, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then actually being me, I was, what the hell did you just do type of thing.
Yeah, that was weird.
And so the next day, I come home from school and he hands me an eyeliner, the exact one. And he's like, "Here." And I looked at him very confused, and he's like, "No, you don't have a broken eyeliner here." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you." And I did hug him because I was excited and happy that I got my eyeliner back. That was the only thing on my mind. The following day, I go back to school. Katai does not show up. And granted, I have this kid in my homeroom, the first period class. This was a Wednesday. Thursday, he doesn't show up. Friday, he finally shows up with his face beat up.
Oh, wow.
And then that's when I find out that he got assaulted. But I didn't know.
You didn't associate the two?
Yeah, the two.
So, fast forward, and then what happens?
So, on Monday of the following week, Ty's like, "Do you know this person?" And I said, "Yes." He's like, "Are you associated with him?" I'm like, "Well, he lives at my house." Oh, he's like, "So it's because of you that I got whooped." And then I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, because of you." So, and that was our first interaction. Our second interaction came a month or two later. He wanted to have a conversation with me. He kept asking me how I was in school, how was I being treated? Was anybody messing with me? Did I have a boyfriend? And I was getting annoyed by these questions, and I'm like, "No, nobody bothers me. I don't have a boyfriend." And he's like, "Are you cutting school?" And granted, at that time, I had recently become friends with another girl, which I'm gonna name Z. And Z, she was the only friend that I had that wasn't in the right path. Okay. She was associating with this gang as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think what he was trying to gauge was how deep my relationship was with this person.
Okay. Was it the same gang that he was? Okay.
Yes.
So they're both in the same. I got you.
Yes. And apparently, eventually I found out that Z was actually dating one of his friends who was in this gang.
Okay.
And then a couple of weeks goes by and he's like, I'm just going to ask you straight out. Are you hanging out with this person? And I said, yes, I am. She's my friend. And he's like, I don't want you hanging out with her anymore. Well, Z did get me into trouble. Because of her, I started skipping school. Mm-hmm. And I started smoking. And he found out. He saw me smoke. And he told my dad. And he told him the person who I was hanging out with. And yeah, it got into so much trouble for that.
So he almost like became like another parent.
Another parent.
Like there was a protectiveness to the dynamic all of a sudden. Or like your big brother kind of thing.
But more of like in a controlling way.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I'm going to tell you what to do and you're not.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I fought it. And that's why I would eventually get in trouble. So he was kind of like my little puppet master.
Yeah.
So we're gearing towards the end of the school year now. I remember that there was a party my mom and I went to. And I remember I had this really pretty dress on. And it was like an A-line, kind of like a skirt dress. And it was a little tight. And my mom didn't like it. My mom didn't approve. She's like, too much up top. Mm-hmm. Like, no. And so, but he saw it when I was trying it on. And he's like, you look really pretty. He's like, but I agree with your mom. It's not appropriate for you. That happened. And then I guess we can go into the actual first kiss.
Yes. So how much time goes by?
This was summertime now.
Okay, so like 6 months later.
Yeah,
okay.
6 months later. We were just out of school. And at this point, my parents were, they owned 2 homes. They were having issues at the other home. And then they thought that us living in Hanover Park was creating problems for me because I was changing so fast. They felt like they couldn't get control of me. And they figured that if we moved back to the other house, then the environment would be better.
Okay.
But by this time, by summertime, W had already joined this gang. Mm-hmm. And my parents ended finding out because one day, like a week after I ended, a summer break came by, like these guys, like these thugs came to the house looking for him. And they couldn't find him. And then my dad's like, he lives here, but we are not his family. We are not associated with him.
Do you think that's also why, like, your parents didn't really think about it too much about, like, moving?
Yeah, I think so, too. And then I should mention, too, that by this time, the dad and the brother had left back to their country because his mom was really sick.
Okay.
And the dad was afraid that she was going to pass. So they spent time over there with her. But the thing of it all was, like, for them, it's like, well, you need to stay here and continue bringing in the money. And so because he himself didn't have someone to look after him,
right,
he just kind of started doing whatever he wanted.
Yeah, but it sounds like even with his dad's presence, like he was already veering off, right? Now, let me ask you something. At this point, did you look at him differently? Did you, like, look at him as more than just an annoying,
No.
No. Okay.
No. I was not attracted to him. He was more annoying than ever. And it got to the point where I started to, I felt like I couldn't stand him because I felt paranoid. I felt like if I snuck out of the house, he was going to tell. And sometimes even the things that I did in school that you would think that nobody would know, he would find out. And then he would confront me and be like, did you do this, and that? And how else would you know? So I'm assuming that he must have had other people
like watching you. Me. Yeah, like spying on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the first kiss.
The first kiss was, it was a weird situation. Came over to the house. we had already put the for sale sign up, and I guess my parents had already talked to him about moving out because they were going back to their other house, and that house didn't have a space for him to live there. And then they were very upfront with him that in light of what had happened the other day of those people showing up, they just didn't want those problems because they had small children. So one day, and they're like, you can keep your stuff here while you find a place, I guess, but eventually you have to take it before we move out. And one day he came over when nobody was home. He knew that my mom was working. He knew that my dad was working. He knew that my brother and I were alone. And so he knocks on the door. I see who it is. And obviously because he was, a trusted person, I opened the door. I'm like, what's up? He's like, I'm here to pick up some of my stuff. And I'm like, my parents put all your stuff in the garage. I let him in. I let him go to the garage. And I'm upstairs with my brother watching TV.
And you are 13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm about to be 13.
Okay, so you're still 12.
I'm still 12.
OMG. Okay.
Mm-hmm. He calls me and he's like, hey, come here. So I'm like a dork. I go downstairs and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, this is it? I was like, I guess. I don't know. Like, if that's what your stuff is, then yeah, I guess. And I'm like, I can't open the garage door because the thing was broken. My parents hadn't fixed it and that door was heavy. And I was like, so you're going to have to take your stuff out through the front. And then all of a sudden I turn back to go back upstairs. He grabs my hand. He pulls me towards him and he holds me and he's like, I miss you. And I'm confused. And I'm like, I just kind of stared at him. And next thing I know, he kisses me.
Like kissed you, yeah.
Kissed me. And obviously I'd never been kissed before. I was very confused and he did it again. And the second time I liked it. So I reciprocated.
Okay.
And granted, at this point, I was never in love. I was never attracted. It was just like the feeling of being kissed felt good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and when you think about it, like you're probably at school, starting to talk about boys a little differently. Yes. So it's kind of like stepping into that fairy tale, scenario. Now here's a guy that likes me and is kissing me. So he kisses you.
He kisses me. He kisses me again. The second time I like it.
How did you feel like after that episode happened?
Dazed and confused. Dazed because I was like, whoa, that was cool type of thing. And I liked it and I want to do it again,
Yeah.
Confused because I was like, why?
Yeah.
And then there was this whole like, ew, I don't even like him.
Did he say anything to you like afterwards?
No.
So after the kiss wraps up, he got his things and left?
He didn't even take anything.
Okay, wow.
He left empty-handed. And I closed the door. And I remember, like, in my head, I'm like, what? Like, how? And then I shrugged it off and continued my day.
Okay. So when's the next time you see him after that?
The following day.
Okay.
He comes back at the same time. But this time it's different for me. Because this time I'm hoping that we get to make out again.
Yeah.
But what I do want to stress on this is that what's happening here, I'm not attracted to him. I actually don't even really like him. I just like kissing him. Or at least that's what I'm beginning to think. And sure enough, he comes over at the same time. Oh, he's like, I thought I left something. I didn't take it with me. He's like, I'm just gonna look for it. And same procedure. I left him alone in the garage, went upstairs. A couple of minutes passed by and then he screams for me and I come back downstairs. And I remember like this time he was really holding me tight and he's like, I thought you were going to come into the garage. And granted, I'm still a 12-year-old and I'm like, I remember saying why.
Yeah.
And he's like, didn't you like what happened yesterday? And I felt really shy, so I didn't answer. I remember him saying something along the lines of, let me remind you. And so we started making out. And in between kisses, he kept saying, like, I've missed you. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about yesterday. But my only concentration when it was happening was on the kiss. Like, the words meant nothing to me at the time.
Right. You were just, yeah. Do you think that this whole attraction to the makeout session, do you think it was more like your age, hormones kind of were going wacky. You know, the thrill of, making out, right?
Yeah, that was basically it. I wasn't in love. I wasn't like feeling anything. Those words that he was saying to me was like, they weren't necessary.
Like they weren't hitting you
No.
like in the heart or anything.
No.
They were just like
To
decoration.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about other than kissing? Was he getting like touchy-feely at that point?
He was just holding me really tight, and sometimes when we were making out, it felt uncomfortable because I could really feel his body pressing on mine, specifically like on the top area, his chest and everything, and I was just, that tended to be a little much, and I remember like pushing him back.
Yeah.
And he was kind of respectful, I guess I would say, because he wouldn't like pull me even further. He kind of like gave the space as long as we were making out. And then when we would stop making out, like to take a breath, he would like push me against him again.
How long was this session?
I don't know. It felt like it was for a really long time.
Really? Okay.
It could have been just like maybe 5-10 minutes, but to me, it felt long. But also like when it was done, it felt like it was so quick.
Yeah.
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 That time when he left, he took shoelaces, I think.
Oh, wow. So it was like almost like he was planning on
Yeah.
coming back daily to pick up an item.
Yeah, I think it was shoelaces, and I was like, okay.
And your parents were at work during this time?
Yes.
And you were home alone with your brother?
Correct.
Okay.
And mind you, Danny, my brother, no clue.
Yeah, he was probably watching TV or something.
Yeah, because he was 5, 6.
Yeah.
So he doesn't come the following day. He doesn't come the next day either. The day that he does show up, I think it was like towards the end of the week. Same protocol. He comes over, goes to the garage, calls me over, and we make out again. But this time it was different because he had alcohol in his breath.
Oh.
I could smell it. I could taste it. There was no comment towards that. I didn't make a comment. He didn't say anything. It was just the same thing. But in my 12-year-old mind was something did pop up, because I started to question like in how much trouble I was going to get if my parents found out.
So did you wonder like what these makeout sessions like made you, like if it made you his girlfriend, or like what title, or like what the relationship? You didn't? Okay.
No, because I did not care about that. I just cared about making out. I, even to this point, to the step, I did not like, and if he did ask me, I think at the time would have been like, no, thank you.
Okay.
There was no feeling.
So how many, I guess at what point do you think you started to develop some type of feelings or emotions toward, or add the emotional component to these sessions on your end?
When we got caught. When we almost got caught, I should say, because the day that we almost got caught, we had just finished making out. And I think the reason why we finished making out was because he heard something. And he pulled away, and he went all the way to the corner where his stuff was. And I instinctively was standing next to the door with my hand on the doorknob.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom walks through the door, pulls the doorknob, and I go with it. And she's like, what are you two doing in closed doors? And I looked at her and I was like, what closed doors? I'm holding the knob. I'm like, right here. I'm like, behind the door. We're not in closed doors. She's like, the door is closed behind you. I'm like, I'm holding the knob.
Okay, so she almost catches you, and she became suspicious.
Yes, she became suspicious. And then she looked at him straight in the eye and said, if you're going to come and pick up your stuff, you come and pick it up when one of us is home. Don't come here when the kids are alone. And she's like, and you, if he shows up, you better not open that door. You're not allowed to. And I'm telling you this in front of him so that there's no questions.
Okay.
Oh, my God. Like, I felt like I was going to throw up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I really thought we were caught. And I guess it must have worked because he was at the other corner. And again, I was holding the doorknob. So when she pulled me with the door.
Yeah.
So.
And you think she believed you?
She let it go because
Right. She couldn't, like, it seemed pretty solid.
Right. It seemed solid, and I wasn't nervous.
Yeah.
And I think I wasn't nervous maybe because I didn't have feelings for him, and it just seemed logical to go with it.
Yeah.
And I was like very proud of myself that I got away with that.
Yeah.
And so, but I will tell you that years later, like once I was an adult, I admitted to her, I was like, if you thought we were doing something, you were right.
We were. Your gut, your motherly instinct was right.
Yes.
Okay, so he's not allowed back at your house.
Right.
And you have very clear instructions. And then what does he do?
He waits about a week. And then he comes over again. But the day he came over, my uncle was at the house. He was waiting for my mom. My mom knew. My uncle opened the door and he let him in. He went back upstairs and I was already upstairs. Then he calls me again and he's like, Diana, and I was just like, what's up?
W called you.
Yes. But this time my uncle comes right behind me and he's like, he kind of paralyzed because he's like, he wasn't expecting that. And I just acted like a brat. I was like, what do you want? And he's like, he asked for that box again. And I looked at him, I was like, I don't know. And I walked away. And my uncle was like, if you want, I'll help you look for it. He's like, no, it's okay. So it didn't work out.
That was pretty bold of him, though, to, attempt to get you alone again, knowing that your uncle was there.
Yeah.
Like, I just get this visual of this shark.
Yes.
Like circling his prey.
Uh-huh.
So, is summer break over by now?
Yes, summer break is over by now.
And you're back in school.
Uh-huh.
Now you're in 8th grade.
Yes, I'm in 8th grade, but by this time, immediately after that happened, we moved back to the old house. And then I started 8th grade, and that's where you and I met.
Yeah, and then we met.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he found out really quickly where I was going to school. I don't think we were friends yet, but like I think my 2nd or 3rd week of school, he showed up.
Oh, wow.
But what he didn't know was that at that time, because it was new, my dad would pick me up from school and take me home. Remember how far away my house was from the school?
Yes. It was exactly like a mile away because in order to get a bus, you had to be further than a mile. I remember.
Yep.
But it was a long mile.
I guess he must have seen and he must have followed us to the house because then he figured out where I lived.
He's like a creep. When does he make new contact with you?
He actually makes contact with my parents first. After those weeks, like probably the following week, he talked to my parents about possibly living in the basement again.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And your parents say what?
The excuse was he was struggling to find a place, and right now he was just couch surfing, I guess. And my dad's like, no, because you're associated with these gangbangers. I told you, that was part of the reason when we discussed it. So then he started showing up at my house. But by this time, he came to me and he told me that he wanted to be very honest with me, that he was actually living with his girlfriend Shannon, that the entire time that
he was living with his girlfriend S.
And that the entire time we were making out, they were together.
Oh, wow. So he confessed.
Yeah, he confessed. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I looked at him and he must have been expecting a reaction because he just looked at me really intensely like, aren't you going to get mad? Aren't you going to do something, I don't know, irrational? The only thing I said was, okay.
So at this point, did you not have feelings for him?
I still didn't have feelings for him.
Okay.
What infatuated me with him?
Yes.
Because it wasn't love, it was infatuation. Was that I became a challenge for him because I believe he was perplexed as to why I was not falling in love.
Right.
And so it became a cat and mouse game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably also the reason why physically he didn't move fast.
Yeah, because now here's a whole year. A whole year's gone by. you've had makeout session after makeout session after makeout session, and the extent of his physical advances had been just kind of like getting super close, right?
Yes.
And, okay.
And the making out, yeah. 2 weeks went by, I didn't see him. And then it kind of hit me that I started to miss him. But obviously I didn't know how to get a hold of him. He knew how to get a hold of me.
So this is before cell phones.
Yeah. Finally, he shows up 2 weeks later, and he's like, did you miss me? And I kind of stood my ground. And maybe I think because of my age, he was expecting like, oh, we had a couple of makeout sessions. She has to be head over heels in love with me.
And he's probably, what, like 17 at this point?
17, 18 at this point. So he this time was gone for like a month, but not by choice. I guess he had gone to jail.
Oh.
And he came back, and this time you and I were friends. And I don't know if you recall that he picked me up from school.
Yes. Disclaimer, I didn't approve of this one either.
No, she did not.
Continue.
And I think you already knew about S too, like what he had admitted to me, because I think we had talked about it. I guess you could ask, like, what the heck is wrong with you? You had a girlfriend, so he had a girlfriend. Why are you, like, continuing to see this guy?
Because you're a child.
Because I'm a child. I don't know better.
Right.
I don't know what that entails. And it wasn't like, I wasn't the type of girl who was like, I can't wait to have a boyfriend, and I can't wait for my first... That would never cross. It happened to me, but it wasn't things that were crossing my mind. I wasn't boy crazy.
You weren't looking for it.
Yeah. We were riding around the car, and then I remember he started holding my hand, and actually this was the first time that he groped me.
Okay.
And I felt tense, and I was like, what are you doing? And I felt uncomfortable, and he's like, you didn't like that? And I'm like, I don't know what that was. I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, how about if I try again? And I just said no. And the one thing he did say was, we can't keep making out forever.
Did you at that point have an understanding of what sex was?
Yeah, I knew what sex was. It wasn't clear to me at that very moment that that's what he was...
That's what he was, like,
alluding
to. Okay.
Yeah. So he took me home, but he parked away, like, a block or two away from my house, and we were making out in the car, and again, he started groping me. I remember pushing him away and, like, don't. And I remember him getting on top of me, kind of, like, forcing his weight on top of me.
Yeah.
And, like, making out super hard, and then I freaked out, and I screamed, and he stopped, and he's like, let's go home. Let me take you home type of thing. And I was like, okay. So I got out of his car. I remember my heart racing. And there, when I got home, I was questioning, like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I think another month or two passed by, and I didn't see him. And then he got in touch with me again. Was it this time that you got in the car with me? Did we go with him?
Probably. That was that time. Okay, so here's a interesting story. That was a time that you convinced me to go see him, like 20 minutes away. So his friends, his thug gangbanger friends met us up somewhere by your house. Was there a cell phone? I think I had a cell phone by then.
I believe so.
Because I remember
I had a beeper at the time.
Yeah, because I remember I got in the car and I was like freaking out because there were like 4 gangbangers in this car, and the whole time that I'm sitting there in the middle, I'm holding my phone ready to dial 911. And then I kept thinking, like, why did I agree to do this? Like, what if these guys take us somewhere and just, like, we disappear?
And I was on the other, we'll be fine.
Yes.
I mean, we're fine.
She was like, they're going to be fine. They're nice. I was like, they don't look nice. But thankfully, they did take us to, the town or the his house.
Yes.
And I remember you saw him that night, and then they brought us back.
They brought us back, yeah. And the time that we were alone, that I went to his house and talked to him, that's when he was like, hey, he's like, I don't think we can see each other anymore. S is pregnant.
Oh, he was going to have a baby. Okay.
He was going to have a baby. And I wasn't devastated, but I was shocked. And then I said, well, what about us? Yeah, and so that was a done deal. And remember that I didn't see him again the entire 8th grade, And he was never, and I, even after that, he was never a thought. I never mentioned him. We just, it was whatever. He showed up back in my life at his cousin's quinceañera. I was a bridesmaid, dama at that quinceañera. And I saw him, and something inside of me just like fired up. And for whatever reason, I needed to talk to him. By this time, I was 15, and apparently I didn't realize that he was keeping tabs on my life. He knew what I was doing. He knew where I was going to school, which was really creepy. Now that you think about it. Back then, I was just, it annoyed me. I'm like, why are you doing this type of thing? And he knew that I was really friends with a guy who we're going to name A. He was really sweet. As a matter of fact, A knew the quinceañera, and he wanted to date her. And because I was the bridge between the two of them, I was trying to help him get together with her. But she was under the same scenario of parents being really strict, and she lived far away from him, and it was just a whole difficult thing. So I saw him. I was like, I need to talk to you. So where this quinceañera took place, it was kind of like a barn setting. It was inside a barn, and then there was like another like mini barn. We went to that mini barn because it was dark, nobody was there, and we started talking. And he's like, I heard you're dating a bunch of guys, like I'm pretty sure you're not a virgin anymore, like why would I want to be with you? And I don't know why in my 15-year-old head it never never popped up in my head, or I should have assumed that they were still together. I mean, because they had a child. I was like, that's not true. You know that I'm not like that. I remember him throwing in my face the whole makeup thing. And I was just like, we were just making out. I never did anything more with you than that.
Right.
Again, not love. All he said was, prove it to me. And guess what I did? I proved it to him. I don't know if at that moment I know it wasn't love, but it was infatuation with desperation of like wanting that back. Or maybe that was my obsession, just wanting those feelings back, the feelings that I felt when we were making out, when things were happening. And so I let it happen behind that barn.
How did you feel afterwards?
Guilty.
Yeah.
I felt guilty because I always thought that my first time was going to be with somebody I loved.
And it felt wrong.
It felt wrong. And then it just kind of clicked in my head like, wow, I just did this to prove to somebody that I'm a virgin, not because I love them. And I felt like this dread of like, I want to take it back, but I couldn't. Like it was a done deal. And then the only thing he asked me was, did you like it? And I didn't answer. And he grabbed me by my shoulders and he's like, I just asked you, did you like it? And like I forcefully said yes.
Was he aggressive?
He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't an aggressive person. He was very laid back, quiet, but he had that kind of discernment of like
control.
He didn't need to be aggressive in order to get his point across.
Okay.
Like he could pretty much do it with his presence and his voice.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to pause. This is part 1, episode 5, part 1. And so the next episode is going to start because you don't see him for how long after that?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. So you hand him your virginity and he gets up, says thank you, and disappears for 2 years.
Yes.
Okay. So stay tuned. Part 2 coming in the next episode.